Merry Christmas, everybody, and welcome to the CXM Experience. I am Grad Con, CXO at Sprinkler, where we put the experience in CXM. So, wow, it's the end of 2020. Just a few more days until we make it out of this godforsaken year. I will say I really didn't see 2020 coming down this way, but it's been quite an experience, I would say, in 2020. So I thought I would just spend a few minutes, maybe do a slightly shorter show today because it's Christmas Eve. Although I do have a Christmas show tomorrow, it should be fun, and just talk a little bit about the experience of Christmas. So not everybody celebrates Christmas, so I'll kind of recognize that right out of the gate. In fact, this year I also did celebrated Hanukkah and Passover. So kind of I have a multi-denominational sort of family and life now. But Christmas is still sort of part of my traditions. Although I'm not I'm not even a Christmas Christian, which is typically referred to as people who go to church just at Christmas. With many of those, I am an avowed atheist, so I don't actually believe in. I think they're great stories, but I don't believe in the fantasy, I guess. But I do love the tradition, and so let's talk about that for a second. So, what's interesting is that humans do love traditions, and in fact, the Christmas holiday, which is primarily a Christian holiday, really actually came from pagan times, because traditionally, pre-religion, people celebrated the winter solstice, which is on the 21st. And sometimes there's interesting solar events happening, like yesterday on the 21st. It was not only solstice, but it was also the closest alignment of Saturn and Jupiter in hundreds of years, which people sometimes call the Christmas star, which was pretty cool to watch. So why do we love traditions? Basically, I thought the Christians brilliantly took the solstice celebration and then converted it into Christmas, and that's worked really well. And we've continued on, and we use it as a way of thinking about the year that has passed. We use it as a way of connecting with family and friends. We use it as a way of maybe getting a bit of a break. This period of time for me, I usually keep working, but I work a little bit differently. I usually cancel the relentless Zoom meetings that sometimes some days go from 4:30 in the morning until 7 o'clock at night for me. So I'll get out of that hamster wheel for a little while to allow myself to do a bit more thinking, maybe a bit more writing, a bit more reflection. What did I learn this year? It was certainly a very tumultuous year for me. So it was a year of probably extreme learning, which was great. But how do I process that? What do I want to do differently next year? So I think as humans, we're programmed to want these breaks, and we're programmed to sort of want these moments of reflection and moments of connection. And that, I think, was what these sort of holidays help us do. And if you think about it, we're pretty good about doing something like this about once a quarter, right? We've got, there's the Christmas break / New Year's, which kind of trails off of the Thanksgiving break if you're in the US. Then we've always got something in the spring, school holidays or Easter or however you want to play that. There's always something in the summer, July 4th, the summer holidays, etc. And there's usually something around Labor Day. We'll do some kind of thing in Labor Day, end of summer, beginning of the fall, that kind of thing. The Canadians have built a Thanksgiving tradition in the first week of October. They're a little bit more quarterly focused. They've got October for Thanksgiving, and then Christmas is in December. So they've got that played out a bit differently. But everyone's got something like that. There's a rhythm in all religions and sort of in all societies. And as I think about these rhythms, I think we probably do them a little bit unconsciously because they've always been there, or we're just flying from place to place. But I think they're there for a very specific reason. I actually think that they are there for a break. Humans need time to reflect and process, and we need a time to take our foot off the gas for a second, think about where we're going next, and then re-engage. And where I think we can sometimes make a mistake at these times of year is to be so drawn into delivering an experience that we lose the ability to have a break. I know that's happened to me in some years where I kind of exit the holidays exhausted. And if you find yourself in that kind of situation, probably doing it wrong. You probably don't want to hear this from me on Christmas Eve, but just, think about it a little bit. Are you focused on each other? Are you focused on the event? One of my gifts that I've requested this year is a device-free day. That's going to be one of my special requests. Actually, I haven't made the request yet, but it's going to be one of the things I ask for, because I just really want to spend time, one-on-one in sort of a non-electronic world for a minute, just being able to connect and be present. And that to me is a lot of what this is about, which is how do we connect and be present with each other? And how do we let that human experience seep through? How do we let the experience of being a human, being real, being vulnerable, being funny, being joyful, being sad? There's just so many, many emotions that sort of flow through. How do we let that all happen in a natural way? And I do think this is like one of the best times of the year. My favorite 2 weeks of the year are these 2 weeks. I also would observe that collectively, we all tend to be in the same zone. So if you'll notice, the news is always very uninteresting this time of year. Very, very little happens, which is great. The other great week is July 4th week in the US is another great week where kind of everyone collectively is sort of like, I need a break. And everyone just takes a moment. And there is I think, a little bit of a tendency in our society, and maybe it's a little bit of a, that's the right word. I don't want to sound too rude, but it's just some people need to be like showing how tough they are all the time, which is, hey, I'm not taking any break, and this is my busiest time of year, and you might find yourself saying that right now while I'm talking. Is it? Does it need to be? Do you really need to go without a break? You have to be that tough? I used to be like that. It's a big mistake. So, Christmas Eve, great time for reflection. Don't forget to put out the cookies. Don't forget to put out the milk. Carrots for the reindeer. And make sure that your flue is open so Santa can get through. And with that, this is the CXM Experience. Ho, ho, ho. I'm Brad Kahn, CXO at Sprinkler. See you next time.